Sun comes up on America. Across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
And welcome to it as we kick off another brand new week. I'm hoping you had a great weekend. Boy, what a weekend it turned out to be. So much to cover here today, so let's get right to it. Three big things this hour. Number one, the police officer shot at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, fortunate to be hit in the vest, which saved his life, but he is among those not getting paid because of the Democrat refusal to pay DHS. Just another outrage. Number two, the motive of the gunman clear because he wrote a manifesto. He put it in his own words. He intended to kill the president. The third time in counting, President Trump has literally dodged a bullet. And number three, once again, we have witnessed a violent attack targeting the president of the United States and those on the right. And once again, all roads lead back to radicalized leftists who think they will somehow become heroes if they can pull off an assassination and kill the man. How many times? How many times does this have to happen before the left realizes what they have created? Because this is not a both sides issue. This is not a both sides issue, and don't let them say it is. This hatred for Donald Trump has been fomented, manufactured, and amplified for the last 10 years. He's been painted as Hitler, a fascist, a direct threat to democracy, and a direct threat to the future of America. And those on the left that have spewed this rage and hatred take zero responsibility for creating this environment of violence. Instead, they pretend that somehow they are victims or that it's a false flag. The left blames political violence in America on talk radio, conservative media, congressional maps, the slogan, "Make America Great Again," and any other red herring they can throw out there. I'm here to tell you today it's all garbage, every bit of it. They created this environment. They know it. They have encouraged nut jobs to take shots at the president. And even in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk in September, many on the left just seem oblivious to the atmosphere they built. They laugh it off, and what do they always do? They blame the guy getting shot at, whether it was Charlie or the president. Somehow they blame the person getting shot at for violent left-wing attacks. Yeah, the victim is to blame. And they act like they have been mistreated in some way. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. I'm guessing you are too. There are even nut jobs online saying another popular, albeit utterly stupid theory that Trump staged the whole thing for his own political benefit. How far gone do you have to be to suggest something so utterly insane? Seriously, what is the color of the sky in your world? I'm here to say quite clearly we've had enough. This is at least the third attempt on the president's life. That is the result of making it seem that those in certain circles, that it's okay to kill him because the left has painted President Trump as a monster. And by doing so, they put him in the crosshairs over and over again. Listen to this.
There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this, where they got them, but the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country. And there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, you're
Now, during the attack, a Secret Service agent was shot. luckily in the vest he was wearing, a man who has not been paid in more than 70 days, taking a bullet for America. Unfortunately, despite working for free, he was able to help end the attack, and he's going to recover. The would-be assassin is a 31-year-old school teacher. Let that sink in. A 31-year-old school teacher from California, Cole Allen. A man whose social media was flooded with hateful anti-Christian and anti-Trump posts. And after the attack, this was posted. Allen wrote in part, "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. To be honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it." Motive? It's very clear that Allen believed the Democrats, mainstream media, and left-wing rhetoric. He set out to act on it and terrorize the nation. So what kind of rhetoric am I talking about? I mean, let's get specific this morning, all right? Hakeem Jeffries is among those on the left that blame Trump for everything while spewing this kind of hatred bile. Here's an example.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time. We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
And let me be honest, I could do this all day because there is so much tonnage of this kind of filth. How about Governor Tim Walz normalizing vile, false rhetoric and painting President Trump as something he clearly is not? Listen. All right, we'll get back to Tim Walz. It's okay. How about we just back up the garbage truck just so you know what you're dealing with? How about this? I'm going to show you as many examples of left-wing hysteria and hate as I can squeeze in this morning. Here's a compilation.
Stochastic terrorism is, right, when a leader uses language that is more likely than not to radicalize.
Democracy is on the ballot still.
Democracy is on the ballot.
Democracy is on the ballot.
Democracy's on the ballot.
Democracy's on the ballot.
Democracy is literally on the ballot.
Democracy is on the ballot for this election.
Vice President Harris has made very clear that democracy is on the ballot here.
Democracy, of course, is, as the president likes to say, on the ballot.
Terrorism experts call this stochastic terrorism, where somebody has been so demonized that it creates this heightened risk of lone wolf actors.
Donald Trump is turning this nation into Nazi Germany.
You now have a president, as you said, talking about exterminating Latinos.
A re-election of Donald Trump could mean the end of democracy.
This would be the end of America.
An actual Trump-led wannabe empire is the end of democracy.
Stochastic terrorism is a way of using language that is clearly meant to incite some percentage of the people listening for a violent purpose.
What does that potentially do for unbalanced people out there?
He is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
Eliminated. He has to be eliminated. This is what Democrats and the mainstream media, this is what they do. Stoke violence, throw gas in the fire, and then blame everyone else when the country is on fire. I've had it. I've had all I can take of this crap. Hold them accountable. We will, right here every single day. I've got more to come. I'm just getting warmed up. Good morning, and welcome to a new week. All right, look, I'm going to give you a couple of hopeful signs. It's not all darkness. There are some rays of sunshine breaking through on the left because they're like, wow, this is us. That's right, it is you. On the left, it is you. And there's some hopeful signs. Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, Congresswoman from the state of Washington, posted on X after the scene on Saturday night, "Stop trying to murder our president." Wow. And there it is. Please stop trying to murder our president, she said. There was some sanity coming from the left. I know it's hard to believe. Van Jones said that the concern is the shooter will become some sort of a hero because he's alive. He'll appear in federal court today. Listen to what Van Jones says. There are glimmers of hope. Listen.
I thought the president did well. I'm starting to worry about something, though, which is that the shooter survived, which means on Monday he's going to court, which means there is a danger that people try to make him some sort of hero. You watch what happened with Luigi, who shot a CEO to death and somehow became a hero. So they said tonight you saw the worst of America, you saw the best of America. Tonight you definitely saw the best of America. I hope on Monday we don't see the worst again. I just want to say very clearly, this kind of despicable behavior has no place in America. It has no place on the right. It has no place on the left. We don't know if he was there because he wanted to hurt Democrats or Republicans. Both were there. We don't know if he wanted to hurt journalists or politicians. Both were there. This kind of behavior has no place in America. And it's wrong. Violence is not the way to resolve any grievances. And this cheerleader culture for violence, for people who think that the answer to our problems is to go shooting billionaires or going to synagogues or all these different things, has to be called out immediately. The minute it starts, every single person with a platform must denounce it, or we're going to see this again.
But honestly, that's far too little. And there needs to be clarity that this kind of violence targeting the president is absolutely unacceptable. And if you don't feel that way, you're on the wrong side of the argument. You are on the wrong side of history. Let me just say this again. This is not a both sides issue. It is not. And anyone with eyes and a functioning brain can see that. However, if you're so deranged by your irrational hatred of Donald Trump, you may not be able to come to terms that the shooter was a Democrat, armed to do one thing, kill the president and members of his cabinet. We know that because he wrote a manifesto and made it crystal clear. But there are some among us that just do not get it and will continue to peddle this filth. Because how did many on the left respond to the shooting? By blaming President Trump, of course. Here is Lincoln Project co-founder Steve Schmidt. Hear it.
Person beyond and above all others who's responsible for poisoning the rhetoric in America. That guy's name is Donald Trump.
You're saying it's the president's fault that people keep trying to kill him?
No.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
You say, I asked if we have a rhetoric problem. You said the president has done more to poison the rhetoric. I mean, the president's supporters are the ones shooting people. People keep,
man.
But they keep shooting him. It's not the other way around.
Federal agent shot.
All right, enough. You get it. You get it. And he wasn't the only one. There's more. But let me show you this. The president, during that press conference he called in the Brady press room, saying it was a moment of unity. President Trump could have blamed a lot of people or been angry at the events that occurred, but instead he gave a message of unity. Here's more from his comments.
The first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago. You all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say You had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was the first.
All right, and there you have it. I want to give you one more thing from the president. On 60 Minutes last night, the media in the room still doesn't seem to get it. After all that, still doesn't seem to get it. Listen.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not.
Who else would he be referring to?
Crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me, you shouldn't be reading.
You should be ashamed of yourself. She should be. She's not. We'll continue after this. I will not stand idly by and watch this continue to happen without raising my voice to the rooftops. You need to join me. We need to make a movement here that we will not tolerate this violence. The horrible lies about the president or about conservatives and Republicans and members of the MAGA movement at all. These people on the left have painted us all as monsters. I am the same guy that grew up on the back roads of Michigan by a dairy farm. I grew up believing in America because America does great things. I grew up believing that America could do great things, and as an American, you could do anything. Anything. You could rise. I still believe that. And as long as I am alive, I will defend God, my family, and this country. It's not up for debate. We need to push back every single time because I've said this before, and hear me again. What we tolerate, our children and grandchildren will embrace. Teach your children the truth about this country. Teach your children the truth about this president, about conservatism, about America first. Do not sit idly by and say, well, it'll be okay. No, clearly it will not. This was a 31-year-old school teacher who went to Caltech, well-educated, trying to murder our president. Our president. More of that to come. For over 3 years, I've been sharing with you all the amazing benefits of Patriots Relief CBD. These products have not only brought tremendous relief to Ivy and myself, but also to our dog, Cody. We saw her change, senior dog, and she got a lot of relief. Had a good life in the end. Last 2.5 years because of that. Seeing the improvement in her quality of life brought us great comfort. With no understanding, she experienced the wonderful natural healing benefits of CBD. And if Cody can feel it, you can feel it too. Learn more about the products. PatriotsRelief.com. Place your order today, save 40%, and get free shipping with the promo code Gruber. Or you can call 877-230-1776. PatriotsRelief.com, promo code Gruber. Save 40% right now. We're going to shift gears just for a moment here. A lot of things to cover here today. We'll get back to the attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and all the ramifications of that. But first, I want to have Dr. Kurt Maselli join me, Chief Medical Officer, Do No Harm. Here's one of the issues that has created this divide in America. It shouldn't. But a watchdog is urging the FTC to investigate the Psychological Association for misleading statements on child sex changes. We've had the detransitioners on this program that have told us they were in a session with a psychologist or a therapist for less than an hour before they were led down the path to transitioning, including harmful surgeries and everything else. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
It's a very important topic. All right, what about the psychological damage done to these folks? I mean, and literally we hear stories, and we've heard them here on this program, 1 hour or less. That's all it took for a psychologist or a therapist to say, absolutely, we need to start massive hormone therapy. We need to focus on top surgery and bottom surgery in an hour. Is that reckless, or is it just me?
No, you're absolutely right. It is dangerous and reckless. And I think one thing we see is that these kids are vulnerable children. They have significant distress, confusion. They're going through lots of struggles, oftentimes with other comorbid psychiatric illness, so depression, anxiety, sometimes autism and the like. And unfortunately, what we've seen is that these kids have been rushed into this medical pathway of, as you said, puberty blockers, hormones, and even surgeries. And when you do speak to the detransitioners, you hear the stories of regret and horror that they've been through. And it is absolutely tragic. And I think much as you've said, we've seen most recently with the malpractice verdict in favor of Fox Varian, who was a detransitioner or is a detransitioner and had undergone such procedures when she was 15, 16 years old. We see that the psychologist was to blame in that case. And it's true. The psychologist has a responsibility to appropriately assess, to understand the child's situation, to understand their family dynamics, their relationships, the social influences, all of those various factors, and then to treat the child in a way that is therapeutic, not again pushing them into these procedures, but to look at ways of building resilience, of helping to restore coping mechanisms, of treating any depression or anxiety that may exist. But unfortunately, in this country, we've moved to such a model that has been dangerous. And it is fortunate that we have the FTC and other elements of the executive branch and many legislative branches across the country that have taken action to keep kids safe.
We have to keep kids safe. We have to have a correction here. You know what's always confused me, Doctor? Maybe you can help me with this. How did this ever become, and it did in some places, mainstream? How did that ever happen? I mean, this is not mainstream. This is radical intervention with irreversible surgeries, the mutilation of children, some as young as 12 and 14 years of age. Whoever said, hey, this is a good idea?
The numbers are staggering. I mean, we have a Stop the Harm database where we actually looked at claims data from 2019 to 2023, and we saw over 5,700 surgeries during that time period. Again, healthy kids, healthy body parts being removed, and terribly tragic and unfortunate. And I think to your question, one of the things that happened is when folks were looking at adults and looking at their outcomes and recognizing that adults weren't necessarily doing so great, the thought was, well, maybe we can have interventions in children. And that thought sort of took off in this Dutch protocol some 20 or so years ago. And unfortunately, that sort of came to the United States and was on this accelerated pathway. And I think, unfortunately, folks have seen this issue in a totally wrong light. And it's been hijacked by activist organizations as opposed to medical care. And when you look at the medical information, the evidence behind it, you recognize it just isn't there. And in fact, countries like Finland and Sweden and the United Kingdom have done that. They've assessed the evidence and they've recognized that these procedures are terribly risky and offer no real benefit to the children that they're aiming to support. And unfortunately, activists in this country have taken control of many of our medical associations. It's very encouraging to see the American Society of Plastic Surgeons sort of stand out from among them and actually issued a position statement just about 2 months ago that showed that, again, the evidence just isn't there and we shouldn't be doing these harmful procedures to kids. We need more medical organizations, more healthcare organizations doing that.
I agree with you, Doctor. And here's my question or statement. Maybe these people that are pushing this on children, because there are people like these therapists and these psychologists, small group of them now and getting smaller, but they continue to push this idiocy, this insanity. Maybe they need to see psychiatrists because there's something wrong with them. If they really believe that you can start chopping off body parts and turn a boy into a girl, which you cannot, maybe they're the ones that need the therapy. Right or wrong?
It's unfortunate. This idea of gender ideology has just infected not just our medical schools, for instance, in terms of teaching about a gender universe and the like, but it's also infected our grade school system and elsewhere. And it's just so important, again, for us to focus on keeping kids safe, recognizing the binary nature of sex, recognizing biology for what it is, and understanding it and embracing who we are as opposed to trying to change us. And recognizing that, yes, this is an illness, a confusion, a difficulty that one is going through. And yes, puberty can be very difficult for many different children and such. We've experienced it ourselves. And I think what's important is to recognize that we need to help kids through that, not push them into a pathway that'll cause them tremendous harm, tremendous regret later on. So there's a lot of work that we need to do within the schools of psychology, the schools of psychiatry, and the like. I'm a psychiatrist myself, and frankly, I'm ashamed of my profession for where it's come and what it is doing. And again, for not looking at the evidence. And if you look at the data, if folks truly want to help these children, and you look at the data and you see that there's very low certainty of any evidence of benefit in psychological outcomes, why are we doing these things? And in fact, there was just a study out of Finland that showed very much the same. Data from 1996 to 2019, over 2 decades of data, and it showed that these kids had high rates of psychiatric illness going into treatment for gender dysphoria, and unfortunately, they end up worse afterwards. So
I want to give a warning to parents.
Tragic.
I want to give a warning to parents. There is only one person at your kid's school today, or grandparents, whoever's listening. There's one person at your kid's school today that can see your child with no other adult in the room, with nobody else there giving input, and that is the school psychiatrist or therapist, whatever it is, the school psychologist, whatever they have at your school. That's the one person that can see your child with nobody else in the room and feed their brains full of whatever. So I would, and you can do this as parents, give it an opt-out letter. Tell them they're not allowed to do that with your child. They are not allowed to have one-on-one time with your child without your express permission. You can do that. The school counselors, these people have access to your child with nobody else around. And we need to say no, because the detransitioners are the dirty little secret of this whole butchery. You know, when they come out, they get labeled as homophobic, and they're the ones that are messed up. They attack these people and come back and say, this was a terrible thing they did to me. Anyhow, 30 seconds. Last word to you, Doctor.
No, we are thankful and appreciative for all the work, certainly, that the administration is doing to keep kids safe from radical ideology. And our urging is very much for the FTC to look into, again, the American Psychological Association for these false and unsubstantiated representations as it relates to gender care, and particularly looking at the conflicts that they themselves have within their own organization and pushing this affirmation-only model. And saying that's the way to go. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need to continue working on it to keep kids safe.
Yes, we do. Doctor, thank you for being here. It's an important topic that we keep discussing on this program. It needs to stop. Full stop. Doctor, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Really appreciate you. All right. I'll take a break. We have more from the White House Correspondents' Dinner coming up after this.
Small businesses are
All right, I want to get back into it now because this is, and I'm going to repeat this because it is so important. This is not a both sides issue. Charlie Kirk assassinated 10 September 2025 by some radical leftist. Donald Trump shot Butler, Pennsylvania. Then the would-be assassin in West Palm Beach. This all comes from the same place. Fomented, generated, created, fueled by the same group of people, these radicals on the left. Make no mistake, this is not a both sides issue. They get, well, Donald Trump says this, and Donald Trump is the one getting shot at. Charlie Kirk was the one getting shot at. Oh, it's his fault. He said these things. So when they start blaming the person getting shot or shot at, they have no argument left. None. Here's an example of those reprehensible talking points. It comes from a woman who has claimed to be a Republican. She's on The View. She's on CNN. She is an embarrassment to herself and those she works with. Her name is Anna Navarro. Listen to this filth.
It's odd to me that in a place that is teeming with Secret Service, with Washington, D.C. police, with all sorts of law enforcement, this could happen. But also, I think people jump to that conclusion that it is staged because Trump lies. He lies constantly, daily, and pathologically. So people do not trust and do not believe anything Trump says. His lips are moving. The likelihood is he is lying. Also, this is a man who has mastered the art, forget the art of the deal. He has mastered the art of distraction. Anytime he finds himself in hot water, his numbers right now are down in the basement. His Iran war is incredibly unpopular. People are pissed as hell at the price of gas and the price of everything going up. And so people look at this and say, oh my God, is he trying to distract us again? Because that is what he does, right? He posts crazy things and he does crazy things and says crazy things to distract us from the Epstein files, to distract us from his horrible numbers, to distract.
You know what's crazy? That she has an audience anywhere. What's crazy is that she gets a paycheck to spew that venom. Oh, it was staged? It was faked. This is the next line from the left, of course. Oh, it was all staged, really, in front of 1,000 journalists, most of which are left of center. Right. They're all part of the conspiracy. What is wrong with these people? By the way, this Cole Allen, this school teacher from California that attempted to kill Trump and members of his administration, will be in federal court today. I'm sure there's a GoFundMe account somewhere to raise millions of dollars for his defense, because in the minds, in the small, closed minds of these people, he's a hero. Their only disappointment is that he failed. Plenty of those videos on social media right now, too. Let's find somebody who can shoot straight. You are the scum of the earth. You are the scum of the earth. If you celebrate the attempted assassination of the President of the United States. I didn't like Joe Biden. I didn't like Barack Obama for their policies. Never did I think it would be a good thing for them to get shot in office. Never did I think that. This is who we're dealing with. This is who you're dealing with. People that think, people that would celebrate openly if Donald Trump were gunned down. Compare that to November 1963. Let's put it out there. The difference, because they have fomented, created, and manufactured this mindset that somehow Trump is so bad that it would be great if he were killed. You people are sick. Sick. I'd say clean up your act, but I don't know if that's possible. Shifting gears just a little bit now, because this is something that's in the headlines and something we have been diving a little deeper on. Not sure how you come down on it, but what if the biggest story in human history has been sitting right in front of us? And we're only now being able to see it. Today at 9 o'clock, today at 9 a.m., Ivy and I sit down with best-selling author and investigator Kent Heckenlively, who's asking a question a lot of people are starting to take seriously. What does the government actually know about UFOs? Real? Fake? A psyop? What haven't they told us? We're talking Pentagon reports, congressional hearings, whistleblowers, and what he calls a slow, controlled disclosure of information that he believes has been hidden for decades. Is it about aliens? Advanced technology? Something we don't even understand yet. And maybe the bigger question, if they've kept this quiet, what else aren't they telling us? What else are they lying about? It's the kind of conversation that pulls you in and doesn't let go. Find Forgotten America on my YouTube channel by searching Steve Gruber. Subscribe now. It's free. And don't miss this episode dropping today at 9 a.m. Here's a preview.
The technological advancement of human beings doesn't make much sense according to the fossil record. What do I mean by that? Well, apparently we have existed as Homo sapiens for about 145,000 years. Okay? That means we're about the same size, same body shape, same brain capacity. But it's only about 45,000 years ago that we start to see what we think of as modern human technology. That's things like fishing. That's things like developing tools that allow us to hunt large animals. So before that, we weren't hunting large animals. Okay, and so 45,000 years ago, there was some change. And scientists are saying, what was that change?
What was that change? It's a great conversation. You don't want to miss it. Again, search Steve Gruber on YouTube. You can subscribe for free, and it's one of a whole host of podcast episodes available now. It is Forgotten America. You won't forget it after you hear it. I'll be right back. All right. How demented are some of these people on the left? Well, let me give you an example here because it's important. There's a Democrat in Wisconsin. His name is Kirk Bangstad. He owns the Minocqua Brewing Company in Wisconsin. And he has been promising free beer whenever Donald Trump dies. That's who these people are. I want you to know who they are. Free beer. And on X, they posted after the events on Saturday night, well, we almost got free beer day. Hashtag free beer day. We almost got free beer day. Regardless, we stand at the ready to pour free beer the day it happens, the post concluded. So here's the entire post. We almost got free beer day. Either a brother or sister in the resistance needs to work on their marksmanship, or he faked another assassination to get a positive news cycle. We'll never know. Regardless, we stand at the ready to pour free beer the day it happens. These people are demented. I used to think that a mattress was just furniture. It's not. I know that now because they got a ghost bed. This is an American-made sleeping system. Look, I spend as much time as you do sleeping, right? Everybody has to. They're sleep systems. They are designed to help you get relief and recovery, not looks and not fluff. Your body should be healing when you sleep, not fighting for comfort. And Ivy and I have noticed the difference as soon as we got the ghost bed. If you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, sleeping hot, even reaching for a pain med before bed, hoping tonight will be different, well, that's not aging. That's a bad sleep system. It's a bad mattress. All right, and here's the bonus. You can get the ghost bed for 101 nights. Try it at home. If you don't like it, if you don't feel the difference, you can send it back risk-free. GhostBed offering my audience, you, the lowest price of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. When you use the promo code Gruber, you're going to get an additional discount off the best price of the year. All right, coming up in the next hour, Ivy's going to be here. We'll have her weigh in on her thoughts on this latest shooting, the attempt to kill the president again. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for America? What does it mean for us? It means no more being quiet, that's for damn sure. I'll be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, here we go, diving into another big hour, and here are three big things you need to know to get started in this hour. Number one, the ceasefire in Iran is still in place, but for how much longer, we just don't know. Oil is up, so is gas, but Iran is on the brink of having an economic collapse. How long can they play chicken? Number two, all eyes will be on a D.C. federal courtroom today as the man who opened fire with the intent of killing President Trump will appear for the first time. The 31-year-old school teacher, Cole Allen, facing life in prison. And number three, so much to discuss in the aftermath of the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I want to commend the president for talking to reporters in the spirit of the night and for taking the high road. He did that. Joining me now is Ivy. Ivy, man, a lot going on, right?
Good morning, yes. Well, we were heading to bed. What was it, last night, the night before? And we were like, what the heck is going on? Because we're starting to get all sorts of media alerts. And we just tune in. We go right to X because that's generally where a lot of the videos are. And we're going, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, we were way late to it because I think we got notified. I mean, we picked up on it late.
Yeah.
Very busy day, had a lot going on. But
right. Well, we generally try to disconnect on Saturdays.
Yeah, we do.
So that's just one of the things that we do. Actually, we read the book Charlie Kirk's In the Name of God, the importance of the Sabbath and just taking time away from all the electronic noise.
And they don't give us a break. Here this comes. And Anthony, I want you to put back up that video that you were just rolling there because I want to talk a little bit about the Secret Service in the hallway as this shooter came running by, right? I know Anthony just had that up because here's what's confusing to me as I watch this video.
Right.
The Secret Service guy's just lollygagging there like a desk or put him. He's like, la, la, la.
Well, I mean,
and also this guy comes running by and he's like, he can't get his gun out. He's like Barney Fife. I'm sorry to take issue with this, but good Lord.
Kind of takes me back to Butler when a couple of the other Secret Service agents were doing the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, I think they get into this comfort zone sometimes. They're like, no one's going to try to get here. There's so much security. Someone would be a lunatic to do that. Well, that's exactly what happened. What I find, Steve, is that the leftists in this country have gone so far left. They're like they've gone where buses don't go on the left for leftists.
That's a good way to go.
And they've given up on America and they've given up on, I think that these people would rather see the United States of America burn to the ground than have any type of prosperity here. And it's really unfortunate. This guy, Cole Allen, 31-year-old school teacher. Do you know what grade?
No, I don't. But but I know this. He graduated from Caltech, right? So he's a very well-educated individual.
Smart guy, who's been completely indoctrinated and has just gone completely nuts because of the rhetoric that the left is pushing. This is
for 10 years.
I'm sorry, but this is not happening. You don't, and we find out that the alt-right folks are a lot of them being paid by the, SPLC.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated the president coming out and giving a message of unity. And let's hear that now. Let's bite 16.
First time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago. You all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was the first.
Yeah, the reality is the Democrats really need to come out and just say, stop it already. Enough with this violent rhetoric. Enough with the not calling everybody who are on the right, Christians, conservatives. Stop calling them racist Nazis. Stop it. We're not racist Nazis. I could tell a story about this guy I used to do kickboxing with. I saw him every week for probably 6 months or longer. I've known him for years and years. He was celebrating when Charlie Kirk was shot and died. And I just felt compelled. Like, I texted him, you do realize that you're just hoping for me to die and get shot too. Because anybody who believes in the United States of America, who supports this president, you're calling me those names too. You're calling Steve those names. And I just don't, this is just ridiculous. And for these, Anna Navarro and many others coming out and saying, oh, this was staged. How dare you? How dare you do that? Stop it already. I think the internet has become a cesspool of just imaginary garbage. What do you think?
I think it's spot on. Look, we played that Anna Navarro bite here earlier saying, well, it's staged. I'm sorry.
What?
What is wrong with you?
Okay, so he intentionally shot a Secret Service agent.
Well, here's what's bizarre. So Charlie Kirk gets shot. They blame Charlie. President Trump's getting shot at numerous times, and it's his fault.
Yeah.
Please. We're done sitting down for this. We're done.
Did you happen to catch the bite of the? It was a school in Boston. And they're a group of kids. They have them with like posters, and they're little kids, probably 5 or 6, and they're marching around like they're in a protest, and they're just going around saying how bad Trump is and anti-ICE and all this.
How old are they?
5 or 6 in a classroom, and they're all chanting this. I'm like, can we fire what is going on in our classrooms?
Well, those people need to be fired immediately.
Yeah.
You're teaching 5 and 6-year-olds to be activists, protesters, violent protesters.
This is not a place. And if this is happening in your school districts, parents need to rise up and get together and band together and, go and enforce this against this, rally against this in your towns. This has just become, American people need to start standing up and saying enough is enough.
I completely agree with that. Now, there were a couple of bright spots. The congresswoman from Washington State
there were
who
some
said,
hopeful things. Go ahead.
please stop trying to murder our president. All right, so there's one. Van Jones on CNN saying, do not turn this shooter into some sort of a hero. They're already going to do that. He's going to have, like Luigi, the guy that murdered.
Maggione,
yeah, that guy, turning him into some sort of cult hero. I'm sorry, what is wrong with you? You're turning cold-blooded killers into heroes? No, absolutely not. But I'm going to guess that today we're going to learn that there's a GoFundMe account for this Cole Allen to raise money for his defense. There is no defense.
Right. And there's this question that keeps rising in my mind, which is, what is good? What is good? And we really need to get back to that. Just, hey, this is not good. And we need to stand up and rally against this. It's ridiculous. Stop the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Let's talk about unity and how great this country is.
Which is what the president did, and I commend him for that as well. Ivy, love you.
Love you, Steve.
Man, so on point today. We'll take a break. I've got more to come after this. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here for the conversation. And look, we take a time out here on occasion to talk about things that are really working for people. And you are the best audience that anybody could hope for. You really are. And we appreciate you being here every single day. And we do it with great partners. And we know the partners are great because my inbox on my email, which you guys are doing a great job with, stevegruber.com, send me an email. It fills up with people saying, thank you for great products like Longevity Wellness. Look, we've been using that in the Gruber household for maybe a year now. And this is a nutritional drink that is good for kids that are doing sports, they're teenagers. It's good for people that are, middle age, that are on one of these diet programs like GLP-1 or whatever it might be, because it makes sure that they keep the things in their body they need. And it's good for older folks who have to make sure they're getting enough nutrition. And joining me now, Joe Reek, Vice President of Sales at Longevity. I'm telling you something, they're changing lives. Joe, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning and happy Monday. Such a fun way to start off the week, Steve. So thanks for letting me be here with you guys this morning.
And I want you just told me a story about a woman who has had some real difficulties for a very long time. And she got a hold of you. She talked about this program. She talked about your product. I'd like you to share that with the folks.
Yeah, I had a really cool opportunity to speak with a customer just a couple of days ago, Brenda from Florida, and I hope she's watching, but I had an opportunity to sit down with Brenda and ask her what she's been able to experience, from taking Longevity. And Steve, this one pulled at my heartstrings, and I might get a little bit emotional, but I want everybody to know that this is the reason why we do what we do, is helping people like Brenda. Brenda told me that she has been experiencing neuropathy in her feet for the past 13 years. And she is a loyal viewer of the Steve Gruber program. In fact, she wanted me to tell you hello, Steve, and I told her I would. So Brenda from Florida says hello.
All right.
But she was telling me her experience from taking Longevity. And she said, Joe, I've experienced neuropathy in my feet for the past 13 years. I haven't been able to do a lot of different activities because the pain is so intense. And she said that, Joe, I started taking Longevity. And a couple of days after I started taking Longevity, she woke up in the morning, and for the first time in 13 years, she finally felt her feet when she woke up. And the joy that she expressed to me and the happiness that she expressed, being able to go out and do regular activities like go out and working in her yard or fixing up her old home that she's living in right now that she's done a couple of different projects with. It's stories like that that just really make me feel like we're really doing something special. And we owe it all to Longevity, because Longevity is a full body wellness drink. It's not just protein. It's not just, the latest fad. This is a whole body nutritional drink that focuses on helping your head, your brain health with DHA and omega-3 oils. There's probiotics that help your gut health. There's collagen to help your musculoskeletal system, to help your joints, your tendons, your tissues repair. It helps your hair, your skin, your nails. There's bovine colostrum that helps with protecting your immunity system so you don't get sick as frequently. And there's 22 natural vitamins and minerals that are made from bioavailable ingredients, meaning that the nutrition parts of Longevity, it comes from real food that's grown in a garden, not in a lab. And this is the product that people are taking that really is making them feel better. And we love sharing it with your audience and with people. And to help people that want to try Longevity, to start it out, we're doing something very, very special. We are going to be doing a 50% off your first subscription order. So today during the Steve Gruber program, as well as tomorrow, everybody who signs up for a subscription, you're going to get 50% off the first month of your subscription. Plus, we are going to include a 21-day wellness guide to help you on this journey of better nutrition, of making yourself feel better and living healthier, Steve. So we're super excited to have this promotion going on right now.
Joe, what a great story. It really is. And I like what you say because you've read the ingredients on this program before. It's stuff that comes from your garden, not from a laboratory. And in the age of Make America Healthy Again, this is so important. And again, my son, who's now running track, he uses this as a pre-workout and a post-workout. When he runs a track meet, he's ready to go because he has the protein, the colostrum, the DHA, everything that he needs. But again, people that are on these GLP-1s, look, I get it. You want to lose weight, but you don't want to lose bone and muscle. This helps you maintain everything you have. And for older folks who just seem short on nutrition all the time, it fills all of these categories, Joe. And to hear a great story like that one from Florida, it's heartwarming to me too, because it's making America healthy again, one person at a time, isn't it?
It really is. It's helping people discover a new way to live. And I wish there was some sort of classification to rate happiness. But it seems like that's the common denominator when I speak with these customers who call us every day, is they just say, Joe, I just feel happier. I just feel better. And it is because their bodies are functioning properly. They're getting the nutrition that they need. And like you said, Steve, that's just the reason why we do what we do. It just kind of gives that validation. And I was super grateful to have that conversation with Brenda this last couple of days.
And this product's been available commercially for a number of years. Now it's available to the general public. And boy, that just couldn't be better. And today, like you said, 50% off if you get a subscription to Longevity. I mean, we're offering people a chance to feel better, to feel youthful again, to feel strong. And again, 8 to 80, I don't care how old you are. We've been using that product in this house. Me, Ivy, Anthony, as you know, behind the board in there, he uses it. We all use it. He works out like a monster, so he uses it for that. It's good for everybody, Joe. Real quick, we got about a minute. Tell them the special one more time.
So the special is right now, when you sign up for a subscription plan on your very first month, we're going to knock that price down. You're going to save 50% on the subscription plan. Plus, we're going to include that 21-day wellness guide for you. It gives you tips and tricks on how to really start your wellness journey. And it's just something that we do for every subscription plan that you get today and tomorrow. 50% off the first month of your subscription. You can try Longevity. You can see what people are experiencing by trying it yourself. And you can start feeling better today. Like you said, Steve, I love how you say from 80 years old to 8 years old and everything in between. This is what people need to do. It's not a special diet. It's not a cleanse. It's just one simple daily habit.
It's doing the right thing.
Everything that you need.
Yeah, LongevityWellness.co. Do it right now, my friends. LongevityWellness.co. The promo code is Gruber. LongevityWellness.co. Promo code Gruber. We look forward to hearing from you feeling better. Joe Reek, thank you as always.
Thank you, Steve. You guys be safe.
All right, LongevityWellness.co. Promo code is Gruber. What a special. We'll take a break and be right back. All right, here we go. Look, the U.S. Department of Justice said a lawsuit, you've heard of this lawsuit, that is trying to stop the construction of the ballroom at the White House, which makes no sense. The East Wing is gone. The new East Wing is this ballroom. It's beautiful. It's being paid for with private money, $400 million. It was ahead of schedule and under budget. But the U.S. Department of Justice is saying quite clearly that the attempted assassination of Donald Trump on Saturday, again, shows that this has to happen. Let me read you something here. Last night, there was another attempt on President Trump's life. This time, the shooter targeted President Trump at the Washington Hilton, the only ballroom in Washington, D.C. suitable for hosting large gatherings for the president, where another shooter targeted President Ronald Reagan 45 years ago. March 1981. He said the venue presents significant security challenges for the Secret Service. Put simply, your lawsuit puts the lives of the president, his family, and his staff at grave risk. I hope yesterday's narrow miss will help you finally realize the folly of a lawsuit that literally serves no purpose except to stop the president, no matter the cost. I agree. Put these lawsuits away, all right? Now, while everyone's focused on the conflict in the Middle East and what happened on Saturday, something else is happening here at home. And if you connect the dots, it's not good. Inflation is up. Gas is past $4 a gallon. Diesel nearing 5.5. At the same time, consumer debt delinquencies climbing to multi-year highs, meaning more Americans are falling behind on credit cards, car loans, even mortgages. So ask yourself, what happens if it all hits the fan at once? Because you can't control the economy, but you can control how prepared you are for what happens. That's why I trust my Patriot Supply. Right now at preparewithrav.com, when you get a 3-month emergency food supply, they'll include a free mega protein upgrade. That's a $200 value. It's a simple step you can take now before these warning signs turning into something much more significant. Go to preparewithrav.com. Preparewithrav.com. Get prepared today. Preparewithrav.com. Nice to see you today. A lot to cover as we continue sorting it all out. I'll be back in just a moment. Blaming the intended victim is the most egregious thing. It is, these people that are saying, well, it's Trump's fault. Trump's fault that he's getting shot at. It was Charlie Kirk's fault that he got murdered, right? I mean, this kind of mentality is absolutely nauseating to me, to be honest. Look, the shooter donated to Kamala Harris, called Trump a rapist and a pedophile, wrote he wanted to target Trump officials, dozens of anti-Trump posts, dozens of anti-Christian posts, and the list goes on. His motives are clear. And then you've got these folks saying, oh, it's staged because Donald Trump needed a break from the news cycle or some such nonsense. Well, my next guest was in the room. Ashley Davis is a national security expert and author of Power Pivot with Grit, Grace, and Growth. Ashley, good morning. All right, so you were in the room. The idea that this was a staged event, a false flag, I mean, these people will stop at nothing. Ashley, you were there. Tell us your experience.
So first of all, I think that is horrific, and also there are a lot of people that are making some criticisms about the Secret Service as well. I was a critic of how they handled Butler and what happened, just because I'm from there and I understand the perimeter and so they did make mistakes in Butler, but listen, they did everything right that night. Obviously. We were at a hotel, so there were people staying at the hotel that were not guests. And so I think that was probably what was so hard to do in regards to the security aspect. But I was actually at Kash Patel's, the FBI director's table, and we were near enough to the door where outside that it happened, and outside the door that we heard the shots. And he was the one, he's getting some criticism this weekend as well, because everyone's like, why didn't he evacuate? He just was standing there. And that is not true. And I do want to clarify for your listeners that his agents came over to take him away. And he's the one that, got our table under. Everyone in the room, for the most part, was getting underneath the tables. But he said that he was not going to leave the room until he saw that, at least everything was secure. The cabinet was out, as well as the president and the vice president. So no matter what you think of Kash, he definitely did exactly what he was supposed to that evening. But listen, there were Secret Service on top of the tables. There were guns everywhere, because at one point they weren't sure if there was anybody else in the room. So it's sad. It's sad that the rhetoric has gotten so high that the president, this is the third assassination attempt on him. And I don't know how the rhetoric goes down around the country, but it needs to.
Boy, I give him credit, though, because he went back to the White House, held a press conference. And I'm going to say I think it's the best press conference he's ever held. He wasn't angry. He wasn't short. He called for unity. He said there were Democrats and Republicans and independents and conservatives and liberals all huddled under the table. He said it was a moment of unity. And you're right about him not leaving the room. He, in 60 Minutes last night, said that was my fault. I wanted to see what was happening. I wanted to make sure people were okay. That was his comments last night, as you know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he actually was the one that he wanted to come back to the room. So not only did he not want to leave, he wanted to make sure everyone was okay, but he wanted to finish the program. And they did, obviously, the security, and there were protocols that needed to be. I mean, it was a crime scene, and so they needed to get him out of there and back to the White House and safe. But he actually had so much bravery, and I think he's very concerned that people that are around him's lives are also in danger. And so, listen, it was something that what happened in Butler, number one, was horrific. The fact that there are people around this country that are planning every day, and you talked about Charlie Kirk. Obviously, Erica Kirk was at the event as well. That was horrific for her. One of the things that Speaker Johnson said this weekend is that he is going to make sure that there is some hearings around what happened, the Secret Service. But again, I don't know what else they could have done in regards to security at that time. They got the guy. And I think that there wasn't a breach of security. I think there was just a really wacky guy that wanted to try to kill the President of the United States.
Yeah, you mentioned Erica Kirk being in the room. I've got a short clip here. Anthony, it's bite 5. Just roll that real quick.
I just want to go.
Ashley, it's not much, and she's sobbing and she's saying, I just want to go home. I mean, how traumatic for her and for other people as well to see this. And I wonder if this has an impression on the media at large, because all the big names are there, right? All the big networks are there. All the big name reporters are there. Do you finally get it? That's what I want to know from the media. Do you finally get it that they want to kill this guy? And they will continue to try. They want him out before the 4th of July. They do not want President Trump to be president on the 250th anniversary of this nation. I think that's one of the driving forces. But do you think the media finally gets it?
Listen, I don't think there was anybody in that room that day, that evening, that was not a little nervous. I mean, obviously, you hear gunshots. Depending on what seat you were in the room, you see everybody underneath the table. A lot of the media did have their phones up above their table trying to get anything. Obviously, they're reporters, so they were trying to see what the breaking news and capture the breaking news in the historic moment. But I think that there's no way that you can't understand the hatred that people have for this president, but also the fact that a lot of them in that room kind of fuel that fire. And maybe that they were concerned a little bit more because their own lives were at risk too. I'm hoping. Yesterday I did a couple TV shows, and everyone said, "How do we bring down the rhetoric?" Well, I think it starts with all of us. I mean, I always make a promise to myself when I do TV that I don't criticize anybody personally, and because I think that's not what we should be doing as a country, and so I hope that others are starting to do the same.
I hope that's true, but I don't feel my concern, and I heard Van Jones mimic the same thing. The shooter's alive. He'll be in federal court today to be arraigned on a variety of charges, facing, I would expect, life in prison. But they will put this guy on a pedestal. There will be a GoFundMe account with millions of dollars for his defense from these leftists. That's what's going to happen, Ashley. Before the sun sets today, there will be this account, if it's not there already, and they will turn this guy into Luigi Mangione, some sort of a hero for the left. This guy is no hero. He is a guy whose brain was perverted.
Happen, but you're exactly right. It's probably going to happen. And I just was watching actually a leftist podcaster that was just praising Luigi, going back to that. I mean, so I'm afraid that the same thing does happen as well. And I didn't even think about that until you just said that, but you're exactly right.
Yeah, and you've got Hassan Piker floating around, is the Democratic spokesperson these days. I mean, how far gone? We only got about 30 seconds here. These people are gone, aren't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, that's not going, when President Biden was in, I don't think that the right was doing what they're doing on the left about President Trump. Like, even if you don't believe in President Biden's policies, we were not hoping that he would get murdered.
That's correct. Ashley Davis, we'll have you back another time to talk about Power Pivot with Grit, Grace, and Growth, because it was more important to hear from your personal experience today than anything else. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll take a break. I'll be right back. All right, back to it now. Defending Education has released a new report showing how the American Bar Association still exerts sweeping control over law school accreditation while many schools continue requiring DEI, required education, things of that nature. Things that probably have passed their expiration date, shall we say. Sarah Parshall Perry is the Vice President and Senior Legal Fellow at Defending Education. She joins me now. Sarah, nice to have you.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be back.
And you have a new report that challenges the ABA's hold over America's future lawyers, which I appreciate. Look, a lot of these law schools are so woke. I mean, you have, this is a surprise to people when I tell them this. There are 50 law schools in America that have animal rights sections so that they think that a monkey should have a lawyer, or a cow or a horse should have legal representation and be on par with a human being. I mean, that's not something I'm making up. It's been going on for decades now.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Listen, as a lawyer myself, I will tell you that we have not seen since 1878 much of what the ABA, for example, was designed and organized to be. In fact, their mission when they were founded in New York back in 1878 was to establish essentially a national uniform code of conduct and to develop a platform where lawyers could come together and figure out legal issues. But what we've discovered is that the American Bar Association is really less concerned about legal education and more concerned about activism. And that's a lot of what's in this report.
Let me see. According to the report here, the ABA collected more than $461 million in dues and accreditation fees between 2016 and 2023. 62 ABA accredited law schools require DEI coursework even today, when DEI has fallen out of favor in so many places across this country. 72 law schools maintain DEI offices. What are they teaching in these DEI programs?
Well, I will tell you that part of what they require, the ABA, and remember that this is only what was publicly available to us. Just because we couldn't find the information on these particular curricular inclusions for these law schools doesn't mean that these law schools have actually ceased to use Standard 303. Remember when Standard 303 was implemented, it really resulted in a hue and cry from all corners of the legal internet because people recognized that teaching 6 credits on mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion, racial sensitivity, cross-cultural bias. These are the kinds of things that don't make good lawyers. Unfortunately, what they do is make activated lawyers, and they have absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the ability to practice law overall. So this is only what was publicly available to us, but they are teaching everything on implicit bias and making sure that, for example, race and indigeneity requirements at UC California, Irvine, for example, require a minimum of 2 credits in graded courses. That includes substantial conduct relating on race and indigenous peoples, structural inequity, implicit bias. These are particular courses that don't teach about contracts or patents or tax law, things that, actual practicing lawyers might need. They are infused with woke indoctrination. And what they're doing is essentially making worse lawyers because all of these students have to be funneled through at least 2 credits of this type of training before they graduate in order to get that permission to sit for the bar in just about every state in the country.
Yeah. At a time when America is kind of walking away from this leftist narrative, be it transgenderism, be it what you just talked about the treatment of marginalized community, all these things. These people still embrace, these people being the ABA, still embrace what is being rejected across this country. Look, we just want to appear in court and be treated fairly. That's all I want. If I have an attorney, I don't need DEI. I don't need to be treated as a victim or as an oppressor, right? I'm not one or the other. I don't need my proper pronouns in the courtroom. I don't need to address the judge with a proper pronoun because if they want to use my pronoun, it's your highness, all right? If that's what's required, that's what they're, that's what I'm going to demand, if you have to use my pronoun, right? I mean, that's how silly it is though, right?
No, that's exactly it. But the ABA for so long has been basically the 800-pound gorilla. They are the ones that are the sole accreditor for legal education in the United States. And in fact, that makes them the gatekeeper for the ability to get professional licensing and to actually sit for the bar exam. There is nothing, I think, that is more discouraging for someone who's been a practicing attorney for 26 years than to realize that today's lawyers are less qualified than previous lawyers, specifically specifically because they have to sit for these required mandatory DEI courses. Again, the ABA is basically the gatekeeper for legal education. And until the Department of Education takes a very hard look through its accrediting agencies, NASICI, which is the National Association of Council on Institutional Quality in Higher Education, they are due for review in July of this year. If I were on the NASICI board, I would take a very hard look at the ABA and determine whether or not this is the precise institution to be able to rubber stamp the ability to become a practicing attorney.
Yeah. We need to clean up a lot of different areas of America. This is one of them, clearly. But let's be honest about this, Sarah. As a group, attorneys are left of center, as a group. And maybe it's because of the law schools that they attend. Maybe they're being manufactured and created that way. Last word to you.
Well, I have to tell you that we've seen that in increasing measure. In fact, the ABA, 80% of its amicus briefs that are filed in federal court proceedings, including at the Supreme Court, have been the left-wing progressive perspective and the losing perspective on everything from abortion to handgun rights to parental rights and religious liberty. That doesn't just make them activists, it makes them bad lawyers.
Yeah, there you go. Sarah Parshall Perry, always good to talk to you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Steve.
Greatly appreciate it. Over the course of 15 years, you get to know people and you get trusted voices. She's one of them. And because of that, I think we give you a better rounded conversation. Because when you walk out the door today, I want to make sure you are the best educated, most knowledgeable person you can possibly be. That's part of what I try to do for you here today and every day. All right. Remember to follow me on YouTube. It's free. Become a subscriber for free. And you can catch the latest episode of Forgotten America dropping this morning at 9 a.m. We're talking UFOs. Believe? Don't believe? Well, you can think about it as we talk to an expert about the topic. All right? I'll be right back. All right, let's check in with Brock Palmbush and sports.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. There were 4 NBA playoff games yesterday in round 1. Winners were Toronto and Boston in the East, San Antonio and Houston won in the West. 3 more playoff games are tonight. In the NHL, there were 4 playoff games in round 1. Buffalo and Tampa Bay won in the East. Anaheim and Colorado won out West. The Avalanche's 5-1 win over Los Angeles finished off a 4-game sweep. In Major League Baseball, there was a full schedule. American League winners included Boston, Detroit, and Houston. National League winners included Atlanta, Arizona, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. In golf, the team of Matthew and Alex Fitzpatrick won the Zurich Classic of New Orleans on the PGA Tour. In women's golf, Nelly Corda won the LPGA's first major of the year, the Chevron Championship in Houston, by 5 shots. And in NASCAR, Carson Hocevar won the Jack Links 500 at Talladega Speedway. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Hey, Brock, I got a question for you.
I'll try to answer it.
I know. Yeah, the NFL draft, right?
Yes.
Over the weekend, right? It has become this huge thing. Nobody ever used to sit around and watch the NFL draft years ago. They didn't. There's the draft. You see it in the paper the next day. Here's who got. Now it's like this big event, and they sit around and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Why?
Well, the NFL figured out that it was better off taking the draft to NFL cities. And, a couple of years ago, it was successful in Detroit, last year at Green Bay, and now Pittsburgh. And I guess they set a record for attendance. I mean, the NFL is king. It's their big off-season deal, the NFL draft. And the NFL's number one. It's our national pastime now. It's not baseball anymore.
I also saw that for the first time in a decade, a Heisman Trophy finalist was not drafted, that being the quarterback from Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah, Diego Pavia. He signed with Baltimore, I believe.
He did, but he wasn't drafted.
Yeah, what's that?
He was not drafted, though.
No, he was not.
Weird. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But people have questions about his height and his attitude.
Attitude, exactly.
Yeah, his height and his attitude. Anyhow, thank you, Brock. Greatly appreciate it. In the next hour here, we will discuss more about the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting that happened on Saturday. We'll talk about that for those of you on Real America's Voice. Sunrise up next for the rest of you. MTN and streaming, we will continue with what we're doing right here, right now. I'll be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, welcome to it as we dive right into the program. Again, another new hour here, another new week. Three big things for you to know this hour. Number one, lawmakers want to know why the Mackinac Bridge has been closed so often. They close it all the time now. Why is that? Number two, storming the steps. This is a big story. You can find this one on Michigan News Source. People versus the poison rally targeting pesticide corporations at the Supreme Court. We'll talk about that. And number three, the big story, of course, the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. A deranged leftist. And I don't have to wonder about motives. A deranged leftist, a shooter that donated to Kamala Harris's campaign, called President Trump a pedophile rapist. He wrote that he wanted to target Trump and Trump officials. He had dozens of anti-Trump posts, dozens of anti-Christian posts. And when they got to his house in California, where he was from, had Democrat signs in his yard. And yet President Barack Obama says the motive is unknown. No, sir. It's quite crystal clear. An armed attack by a Democrat with the intention of killing the elected president with a deadly weapon. And by the way, I'm going to say this. This attack is worse than everything that happened on January the 6th, 2021 combined. The mainstream media will never tell you that, but I will. And President Trump, let's give credit where credit is due. He held a press conference at the White House because they wouldn't let him go back to the stage at the dinner at the Washington Hilton. So he took to the podium. He said a lot of things. But this comment, one of the most telling to me, listen to this.
Believe me, because, you know, it's my life. And I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's why I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you. When you're not impactful, they leave you alone.
I want to make America great. That's why I want to live. He knows it's a dangerous job. He's been targeted so many times now. But he wants to live because he wants to make America great. I appreciate that comment. I do. He shows a tenacity. He was just as good as he was in Butler, Pennsylvania. Remarkable. Here's another take from the president, by the way, a little bit longer conversation following the shooting and how dangerous the job really is. Listen to this.
President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Do you know how the gun was brought into the hotel? And also, how does this event impact you as the leader of our country? Do you think it will change your
I
leadership?
like not to think about it. I lead a pretty normal life, considering, you know, it's a dangerous life. I think I handle it as well as it can be handled. I think a lot of other people, you know, you read stories where they become basket cases. To be honest with you, I'm not a basket case. I really take it as it is. I do it for the country. I'm not doing it for any other reason. I have a first lady who's doing a terrific job. She loves the country, and she recognizes it better than anybody. She's told me numerous times. She said, "You are in a dangerous job," but that goes along with her too. I mean, it's dangerous for her too. We sat there tonight. We heard that noise, and it was either a tray or a bullet. I was hoping it was a tray, but it wasn't. And again, we had some very brave people doing a great job, so we're very proud of them and happy with them. I just want to thank everybody. They will be able to give you all that information as to the names and everything else. I think we released the names already. Most of you would have it, but his name. We appreciate it. I see so many tuxedos and beautiful dresses. It was a little different evening than we thought, but we're going to do it again, and we have a great chairman who we're so proud of, and we have to make it better. We'll make it safer, I guess, right? But we're going to make it even better. Okay, thank you very much.
So those crazy things happen. Third assassination attempt. And the left acts shocked. Oh, how could this happen? It's all this narrative on the right. On the right? Are you sober? You blame the person getting shot at instead of the person pulling the trigger. And beyond the person pulling the trigger, who is fueling that hateful narrative in this country? Well, oftentimes, it's the mainstream media. Feeding this foolish narrative that Trump is Hitler and Trump's a fascist and Trump's a white supremacist and a Christian nationalist and all this other garbage. Garbage. And then they sit there and act shocked when one of these deranged lunatics that they fueled and pumped up and twisted their brain into a pretzel, when one of these people acts out, they're like, how did that happen? Must be Trump's fault. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. Listen to this.
The permission structure for violence. You've got polls about political violence. Democrats don't think it's a good idea. Only Republicans. Only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides. The permission structure for violence. You've got polls about political violence. Democrats don't think it's a good idea. Only Republicans. Only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides.
All right, enough. Shut up. Nicole Wallace. Head case. An absolute head case. It's my fault. Conservative, only people who consume conservative media are the ones, attracted to violence. Well, there were about 1,000 people in that room, many of which were reporters for the mainstream media networks. Do you think they finally get it? Probably not. But it's not just the mainstream media. It is the politicians in this country that spew this vile, venomous rhetoric, including a senator from my own state, Alyssa Slotkin. The one who said, don't follow legal orders. One of the same people who said, don't follow legal orders, trying to undermine the military's authority and trying to undermine the commander-in-chief's authority. Here's something that she said just recently. Listen.
The debate now among Democrats is, how do you answer the following question? Is Donald Trump an existential threat to democracy in his second term? Or is Donald Trump's second term... a fly on me. Is Donald Trump's second term bad, but like his first term, survivable if we just wait it out, right? And I just want you to know from your senator, as someone who sits in that room on your behalf, I am in camp number one. He is an existential threat to democracy.
So there's a sitting U.S. senator, one of many, by the way. Chris Murphy is another. And then there's a list of them, who sits out there and preaches that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy, therefore to America. Therefore, killing him is okay. In fact, it's the right thing to do. That's what's wrong with these people. That is what is wrong with these people. They normalize the idea that Trump's a monster. Champion the idea that if he's not there, it saves America, and then wonder why a crazed lunatic comes running through trying to shoot up the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is on you. On the left. Period. Paragraph. Full stop. This is not a both sides issue, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'll be right back. Here's what we've learned in the last week, all right? We've learned that what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, and a host of other places with Patriot Front and these other organizations that were, allegedly these conservative white nationalist organizations, it was all fake. It was all bought and paid for by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which, by the way, for the record, I have been openly critical of for 15 years on this program because I dealt with them. I told you they were a fraud. They would go out and cast anybody as a white supremacist, a white nationalist, as a racist, as this and that. So they're paying the leader of the Ku Klux Klan to go stir up trouble and then complain about the trouble created by the Ku Klux Klan to create this false narrative that somehow there's a white supremacist hiding behind every Cracker Barrel in America or whatever. And now we learn that Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State in Michigan, yeah, she worked there. She's running for governor. And so is my next guest as a Republican. Perry Johnson joins me. Perry, nice to see you today.
Well, it's nice to be here. Nice to see you, too.
I'd say it's surprising, but it doesn't surprise me. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been a smear machine for years. I mean, they would paint any Christian and they had their map, their hate map. They put a pin in the map because you're a Christian, a pin in the map because you're a white guy talking politics, whatever it is. There was probably a pin for me in there. Probably one for you, too. It's just ridiculous. And then we find out that Jocelyn Benson, who wants to be the next Democrat governor of Michigan, worked there. I mean, this is a problem for her, I believe. Your thoughts?
Well, I know I wrote about it in the op-ed because it's kind of ridiculous when you look at the hypocrisy that goes on. What amazes me is what we have going on in our state. We have somebody who is right now the front runner. In fact, I don't know that there's a whole lot of opposition for governor on the Democratic side who was literally on the board. And we have an organization that essentially sets up its own network so that they can look like white supremacists are so bad, and they're creating them by just funneling them money. Now, Jocelyn Benson's particularly interesting because we have a lot of these centers going around, and her husband is actually getting a commission for each one of these data centers. Now, what's happened in our state is that the overall price of electricity has gone up, energy has gone up through the roof. So we have DTE and Consumer Energy that just raised their price a little while ago, and now they have another 8.1 and 6.1% increase respectively. And people are getting disgusted because of the fact that the data centers are eating up all of this electricity. And while in many states they have to pay for it or reimburse, in our state, no.
Let me ask you this.
Her husband is getting a commission. I think the amount he might make on this is $70 million. So when we say that she's bad, really bad.
Yeah.
So we have a...
Let me ask you this, though. There's this plan that was signed by Governor Whitmer to make Michigan renewable energy sources only by 2040. That doesn't make sense on any levels. We've gotten rid of these coal-fired power plants, Perry. The price of electricity skyrockets. As you mentioned, consumers and DTE come up as often as they can saying we need another 8%, another 10%, another 12%. People are choking on their electric bill already, and they just want to keep driving it higher. It's not sustainable.
No, and our state subsidizes them.
Right.
Think about what we do at our state. We subsidize illegal immigrants coming into our state. We actually had a bonus program where they would get subsidized housing. We then subsidize these data centers, and then we have the prices going through the roof. And now we have somebody who we wonder how crooked they really are because they're on the board of this SPLC, and they tout themselves as this great organization that actually is nothing but a hypocritical organization setting up their own network so they can blast the white supremacists that don't even exist.
Exactly. I mean, it's a fraudulent narrative. They're creating something that doesn't exist so they can go after that thing that doesn't exist and say, look at this terrible thing. We must fight these conservatives. We must fight these Republicans. We must fight these Trump people.
It reminds me a little bit. Did you ever see that movie Network? Where you had Faye Dunaway? She goes out there and she decides they're going to create the crimes because nothing sells like bad news. And they go and actually film the crime scenes. like we're creating our own scenario here. And you look at the Democrats and you really wonder what's really going on in this country with the Democrats.
Yeah, nothing good from what I can. I mean, I've seen the Democrats come out since the shooting on Saturday night and blame Donald Trump. The guy getting shot at is being blamed for a radical leftist pulling the trigger. It's insane, Perry.
It absolutely amazes me when you look at it. And you really have to take a look at where's the danger. The danger hasn't been with the Republicans. The danger has been with the Democrats. We end up having Trump shot at when he literally had part of his ear shut off. And they're blaming him.
Yeah.
I mean, the man is a lion and they're blaming him.
Yeah. They're blaming him while the SPLC and Jocelyn Benson and others are creating a false narrative so they will take shots at him. Perry Johnson, real quickly, where can people find you?
Go to perryjohnson.com. Very simple, perryjohnson.com.
There you have it, Perry Johnson. I will see you on Saturday, by the way. I'm hosting a governor's debate in Escanaba, Michigan. Perry will be there. So will I. I look forward to seeing you, sir.
Likewise.
There you have it. All right, if you want, I think the tickets are sold out, but 4 of the candidates will be there. John James has not committed thus far, but the other 4 still in the race will be there, including Perry Johnson, who in the latest polling is in the lead. We'll figure it out. Escanaba, Saturday night. I'll take a break and be right back. All right, so the battle over Roundup going to the Supreme Court. Monsanto v. Durnell centers on whether Bayer, Monsanto's parent company, can be held liable in state courts for failing to warn consumers that its glyphosate-based herbicide Roundup may cause cancer. May. A lot of people believe that to be true, by the way. The lawsuit stems from Missouri man Durnell, who developed non-Hodgkin lymphoma, won $1.25 million jury verdict, but Bayer argues it should be shielded from such claims because its product labeling was approved by the Environmental Protection Agency. At its core, the case asks whether federal regulatory approval overrides state-level failure to warn lawsuits, a decision that could impact tens of thousands of similar cases nationwide. How do you feel about that? I'm curious what your thoughts are. So it's going to be a big case, and because in Michigan, obviously, agriculture is a way of life for so many people. Look, I've used Roundup that you get to get rid of weeds. Not in years, but we used to, right? Anyhow, that'll be going to the Supreme Court. We'll see how that plays out, and then we will know, right? Meanwhile, I want to tell you this. Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity, and cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. House alarms, doorbell cameras, deadbolts. They don't work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff. They're after the equity you've built up by paying your mortgage. If your title isn't being monitored, scammers can transfer the title of your home into their name using a one-page document they file at the county. And then they take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. And the scariest part? You won't even find out until collection or even foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox. But by then, the damage has been done. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from my friends at Home Title Lock. Triple lock protection, 24/7 monitoring, alerts of any changes, and God forbid if the worst happens, restoration services, no out-of-pocket cost to you. You can check on your home's title today. Make sure you're not already a victim. Use promo code Gruber at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts, and they'll spend $1 million to fix it if anything goes wrong. Go to HometitleLock.com. Promo code Gruber. HometitleLock.com. Promo code Gruber. Make sure you are protected. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it. A lot of debates, as we've been hearing here on this program, in the state of Michigan when it comes to criminal sexual conduct and how people convicted of those crimes are treated. State Senator Jim Runestad is here to talk more about it. He has introduced legislation to close what he calls a loophole in CSC sentencing. Senator, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be on to talk about the issue.
Now, because I do have a question about this. I'm not sure we're going to agree on this, but you say that only individuals convicted of first or third degree CSE are ineligible for probation. And you say that leaves a significant gap in the system. And you say that anybody convicted of any degree of criminal sexual conduct should have the same penalty. Tell me about that.
Well, first off, let me ask a quick question. Do you know what percentage of crimes are pled down nationally in Michigan?
I have no idea.
High 90%. So you see 1, 2, 3. The plea downs are often pled down to a very, very low conviction in order to get an agreement. So you could have somebody who is forcibly raping somebody, routinely they're pled down. One that they use a lot in Michigan is the debauching of an unmarried woman. It's a statute that's well over 100 years old, and it's for a man who is having intercourse with an unmarried woman. I think it's around 150 years old. I tried to get that removed because it was a ridiculous law, but there are liberal prosecutors that said we use that in order to plea bargain down. So literally there's been cases in Michigan of women raped. One I can remember in a stairwell, physically attacked, raped. It was pled down to the debauching of an unmarried woman. There was another group of football players, 4 of them, that raped a woman, videotaped it. We didn't want to ruin their lives, so it was pled down to debauching of an unmarried woman, which basically that was to allow them to get HIDA, meaning that at 21 everything would be expunged and they could go on with their lives. We didn't want to ruin those football players' lives. So there's a real issue with CSCs that are pled down, which almost all of them are, in order to get the conviction. So you could have very serious, horrific rapers getting these plea downs and then getting probation.
All right, well, I have one anecdotal story here of somebody I knew years ago who was a photographer at one of the shops I worked in, who had been charged with public urination in college. Guy got drunk, he's urinating in public in East Lansing, Michigan, and gets charged with CSE for public exposure, all right? Do you think that that person should be punished the same way as somebody who's committing actual rape?
Absolutely not. And in fact, I've heard these cases going back to, when I was in college. It's outrageous to say somebody is at a concert or a ball game, the bathrooms are completely full, the lines are around the block. The person physically must go. They're not trying to have public exposure. Somebody usually like that goes off into the woods or whatever, and you have some cop hovering around wanting to get him on a CSC. I absolutely opposed to that. That is something that we would deal with in the committee. I just wanted the committee to be able to deal with that specific kind of a case, because that is not at all what we're talking about, nor should it be a crime. If you are back in a private area, you simply must go. That's not what we're talking about here, nor is the case of the Romeo and Juliet. You have a 16 and a 17-year-old child. These things happen by the millions around the state, around the country. That is not somebody abusing somebody else. This is consensual among these kids, and to throw the book at them and ruin their lives makes no sense at all. Again, that's something that we would definitely deal with in committee.
Right. I had to look this up. Age of consent, I think, in Michigan is 16. It's 18 in some states, 17 in some states, 16 in some states, whatever, right? But back to your point, if somebody gets a plea deal from they videotape a rape, an actual forcible rape, they videotape it, they plead it down, you want those folks to still be on the CSC list. Is that what I'm getting?
Oh, absolutely. And in both of those cases I cited, they were in the newspapers because the victims in both cases and their families were opposed to the plea deal. But the prosecutor brought them in. In both cases, I talked to the attorney. The prosecutor said, hey, they're going to get off unless you agree to this deal. This is the best thing we're going to get. And both of these were videotaped. So the guy in the stairwell attacked this woman, didn't know her, just attacked her, ripped her clothes off, and raped her in the stairwell on video. How could you not have a slam and dunk case? The other one, these guys lured the girl into the bathroom, raped her in the bathroom, and videotaped it. How do you not get a conviction? But with the football players, you got to understand these are big boys here. These are boys who got to have a nice career, and we certainly don't want to ruin it with a rape conviction. So they charge them with debauching of an unmarried woman, a preposterous 150-year-something-year-old law that is no longer even applicable. So yeah, these have got to be serious. There's these horrific rapes and these kind of physical attacks are by the thousands. You just hear so much of this stuff where people do these things maybe again and again and get off and go on probation. So something's got to be done.
Well, I think most people are going to agree with you on that. Where is it in the process? These things all take a process. It's in committee now. Do you ever expect it to make it to the governor's desk? Because I'm going to guess bipartisanship is more rare than a unicorn these days in Lansing and Washington. But what are your thoughts?
Well, if it were the reverse, the Democrats have the majority in the Senate where I'm at. If it was the reverse, if it was making it easier, giving them more probation, faster expungement, then it would get a hearing. They're not interested in law and order. As long as I've been on the Judiciary Committee with the Democrats, it doesn't matter what it is. They are going to want to loosen the regulations, loosen the laws so that there can be less convictions and less putting people in prison who really need to be there.
Well, Senator, we'll keep an eye on it. It is Senate Bill 902. We'll see if it gets out of committee. And then, of course, if it does, we'll have you back, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. All right, a groundbreaking new study shows that there is a safe and inexpensive potential cancer treatment. It's a drug that many of us already know. Ivermectin, of course. The new study shows that individuals who took ivermectin, the parasite-fighting medication that gained fame during the COVID pandemic, along with a new drug, mebendazole, saw remarkable results in their battles with cancer. This incredibly promising results have many Americans wondering where they can obtain U.S.-made ivermectin and mebendazole. That's where the wellness company comes in, my friends. You see and hear from TWC doctors on this program regularly. You know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy. The Wellness Company is making 100% American-made ivermectin and mebendazole. It's available to viewers and listeners of this program at an incredibly affordable price point. So no big pharma's greed and no to big pharma's poisons, and say yes to a company that you can trust to bring you safe, affordable, effective treatments. If you or someone you love is interested in trying ivermectin and mebendazole, I urge you to go to twc.health/Gruber today and order. twc.health/Gruber today and order. You'll be glad you did. When I come back, the beautiful and talented Ivy will be back in the room. You don't want to miss that after this. All right, back to it now. Battling a hairball. I don't know why I have a hairball today. But anyhow, Ivy's back in the room. I'm going to hack one up here in a second.
Ooh.
Lose a lung. Anyhow.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ivy. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less cat hair on your desk might do the trick.
A few less cats on my desk might be part of the trick. Yeah, there's that. What's on your mind today?
So I have a few more details. I don't know if you've reviewed any of these with our audience about this gunman.
No, let's have it.
So in a purported manifesto and in deleted social media accounts, these show that he was a far left, anti-Trump, and had a conspiratorial mindset. Participated in far left movements like No Kings and
I'm
the Wide
shocked.
Awakes.
The what? The Wide Awakes?
Yeah, I've never heard of that organization. Have
Me
you?
either. No.
He donated money to the Kamala Harris presidential campaign, and he was encouraging others to vote for her. He did have a 38 caliber pistol and a 12-gauge shotgun. He actually said in the manifesto that he was going to use buckshot in order to have like maximum effects. So his manifesto was called Cold Force Friendly Federal Assassin Allen. It was more than 1,000-word screed that he hated Trump and had adopted some extreme conspiratorial views about the president. I can't imagine. And I am no longer, this is some of what it said, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, racist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes.
Yeah, and
I don't know if you've actually seen any of this, but I mean, it just goes to show you how
demented,
and just the way that the mainstream media and the folks on the other side of the aisle, Democrats and leftists, are talking about the president and a lot of other people, how that can affect someone's thoughts about them. So again, let's maybe stop doing that.
I'd like to play you a piece of sound.
Okay.
About because look, it's the media, it's Democrat politicians calling him Hitler, calling him a fascist, but it's also the entertainment industry. And this is the darkest, ugliest thing that I saw. This happened last week.
Okay.
Before this event occurred. Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
Here's what he said.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Funny.
That's not funny. That is not funny.
Not funny.
That's
Especially
disgusting.
after multiple attempts on his life. That's just grotesque.
Yeah, and so you have the media, entertainment industry, because you've got, all sorts of crazy people in the entertainment industry, Mark Ruffalo, and I could just go on.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell, if she's even still in the entertainment industry. The View, we heard what Anna Navarro had to say. Oh, this is probably fake. Fake. Yeah. There's 1,000 journalists in the room, and this is fake to you.
Right.
And on and on and on. And then, of course, you've got, these No Kings movements, which, again, we know are bought and paid for, just like the Southern Poverty Law Center creating these false narratives about white supremacists and Ku Klux Klan, and they're paying for they paid for Charlottesville, Virginia, to create that image so they could have the narrative.
And this is just one example of that. There's probably more organizations out there that are doing this. If you take a look at Black Lives Matter and some of these other, Antifa, these extremist groups, they're being funded by players that have interest outside of the United States of America.
All true.
So that is not surprising. But I want to switch gears here because I know that this is an important thing to talk about. However, what do you think about this? So if you went to the grocery store and you bought or saw a price tag of a box of 12 organic strawberries, guess the price. 12 organic strawberries.
$4.
$6.
$120.
What?
A box of 12 organic strawberries, $120 in this Los Angeles grocery store. And they're flown in from Japan after 48 hours of being picked. And it's apparently like this luxurious strawberry. And I'm just going, what? What in the world? Why would you pay that much for strawberries?
That's strawberry.
Would you?
That strawberry better be providing a lot more than,
Anyhow.
I'll just leave it there. Fill in the blank.
How big of a strawberry is it?
Yeah.
They're just, like a large one, not, crazy.
$10 a piece.
Yeah.
$10 a strawberry.
Yeah. Ridiculous, isn't it?
Do people buy them?
They do. They sell out all the time.
That is insane.
It is insane.
I'm
Well, I mean,
sorry.
they wouldn't have them come in if they didn't sell them.
Right.
Just sit on the shelf.
I wonder what the profit margin is on that.
I don't know.
$120, 10
Probably
strawberries.
like 400%.
Something like that, yeah. You buy some organic stuff. I don't really pay much attention to it.
Well, there's some berries actually, berries specifically, soft flesh things that you'd prefer them to be organic, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. But oranges, bananas, things like that doesn't matter. Not as important.
There you go.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is.
While some people are plotting to murder our president, we have grocery stores that have $120 strawberries.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Maybe our priorities are a little bit out of whack when those things come up. By the way, looking at the price of gas, it is up today. Speaking of...
Yeah, I know. Yesterday I drove by a gas station. It was like $4.15 for regular gas.
And it shouldn't be. The oil is still at $95, the same place it was last week. And yet, again... $95 oil should not equate to $4.20 gas. It should not. It does not.
Doesn't make any sense.
Again, they're taking advantage of us. Not like $120 strawberries, but they are taking advantage of us. But if people pay it, they're going to put them on the shelf.
Exactly.
That's completely insane. Anyhow, Ivy, thank you as always. Love you.
Hey, Sarah, I love you too.
All right. Appreciate her. We had a great weekend. We did. We slammed the morels. So for people wondering, yes, they're out. And we found one tree that had 21. That was a good tree. Had 21 nice ones, too. Nice ones. So we had a pretty good time with that. I'll take a break. I have final thoughts after this. I think the takeaway from the weekend, a couple of things. First of all, this narrative, this hateful narrative about the president is truly dangerous. Truly dangerous to this country that people actually believe that he's Hitler or he's a dictator or anything else. If he was a dictator, he would ignore court rulings. If he were a dictator, he wouldn't care what you have to say. He would do as he pleased. But he doesn't. He follows the rulings of the courts, even when he disagrees with them, like paying back tariffs that should not be repaid. And he said, I'm not going to be deterred. It's a very dangerous profession. It is. Being president, he's targeted all the time. And he first wanted to go back to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He wanted to go back. They wouldn't let him, so he went to the Brady briefing room and held a press conference and was very, very unifying. He was talking about unification of Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Conservatives, Liberals, all huddled under tables. One of my liberal friends, Esquire Bob, said it was the best press conference he's ever given. I can't argue with that. I mean, he could have come across in a lot of different ways. He came across calm, collected, and unifying. But having said that, the suspect will be in federal court today, and watch as the leftists come out of the woodwork to defend him. It's going to happen. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. And remember, only you can save America. This is Daybreak.